Just singing Thanks for Loving Me after a brief introduction.
Dr. Martin Luther King, thanks for
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thanks. There are many ways we support each other at Unity. I'm going to highlight a couple of them. And please check your bulletin and the Centerport publication and on our website. Tomorrow evening, our spiritual learning classes for the winter will start at 7 p.m. at our office. It's not here, at our office on 1800 Oak Park Boulevard. Please consult today's bulletin or our website so you can get more information and decide which class that you want to take. You won't want to miss the Praying in Color workshop on this coming Saturday, January 16th. CL here will be teaching how to pray in color and then she'll be facilitating your journey as you practice and work on drawing a new path to God. Join Reverend David for the Advanced Heart Skills Workshop using heart math techniques on Saturday, January 23rd, and that's 2 weeks, at 9 a.m., and that will be over at the office, right? Learn advanced techniques of personal transformation, including the tool cut-through. You're welcome whether or not you have prior experience with heart math. And as you walk in, you can see that there's food out there that we're gathering, and we're going to be helping Monument Crisis Center provide food for the neighbors in this time of need. The Crisis Center is now serving about 7,000 people per month, and the food stores are low. Please bring your food to our Sunday services through Sunday, February 7th, we have a month. Please refer to the bulletin for the list of food items. So those are our announcements. Now, do we have anybody here with us for the first time? We'd like to acknowledge you and have a gift for you. We have a visitor right here. Welcome, beautiful coach. Thank you. We have a chalet that's coming here in a minute. And on the chalet it says, there's an affirmation that says, just as God has designed every shell of the sea, so God has designed your life. We hold that in our heartbeat. And we also do that by getting our hand and energy warmed up. And we say together, we love you, we bless you, and we behold the Christ light shining through you. Welcome to our service. Glad you're here. We're going to take that energy, we're going to greet each other here this morning too. So stand and greet your neighbors and friends.
Hey, Warren. Excited. I need to speak to you about the way you're sitting back there. I'll let you watch it over.
Perfect. Good job.
Wonderful childhood guy.
Every guy in here.
I got never from now on, that's all I want to do. From the first time we met, I have a never-ending love for you. I've got a never-ending love for you. From now on, that's all I want to do. From the first time we met, I knew I have a never-ending love for you. After all this time of feeling alone, we can love each other, live for each other from now on. It's so good I can hardly stand it. Never-ending love for you. From now on, that's all I want to do. From the first time we met, I knew I sing my never-ending song of love for you. After all this time of feeling alone, we can love one another, live for each other from now on. Hey, hey, it's so good I can hardly stand it. Never-ending love for you. From now on, that's all I want to do. From the first time we met, I knew I'd sing my never-ending song of love for you. I'll sing my never-ending song of love for you. I'll sing my never-ending song of love for you.
All right, take that deep breath, wiggle around in your chair, get comfortable, and as you let that breath out, just rest into that open place from which we enter into our time of prayer and meditation together. Let the music be a part of that journey into the center of your heart.
my trust inside your power. Life, this world, surrender now to your hands. In your hands I leave my care. In your hands you comfort them. In your hands all safe and still. In your hands I leave my will. I make the choice to rest this hour. Put my trust inside your power. My life, this world, surrender now into your hands. My life, this world, surrender now into your hands.
Taking that deep breath through your heart. Breathing in that awareness of the presence of God all around you, enfolding you, loving you, blessing you. Breathing out and resting, open and receptive. Mother, Father, God, as we journey into this experience of prayer, we remember that you are present in every part of our lives, that you are present healing us, lifting us, guiding us, and that your presence and your love is with each of those that we love. And we know that those needs that we see in their lives and in ours are being met through you. And so we place those cares within your love, knowing that with you all things are possible. And we take that journey into the conscious awareness of your presence by entering into that state of love itself, by taking this moment to simply be aware of the people in our lives that we love, and letting that love flow through our hearts to them. Right now, blessing them, lifting them, healing them. We move into that awareness of the things in our heart that we have passion for, that we care about in our world and in our lives. And we send that energy of divine love to fill those experiences, those spaces, bless those people, that your goodness might flow without limit through all that we do. And letting go. With our heart full of love, we find it easy to enter into that place of peace, where the mind becomes still and the heart serene, for we feel your presence, your love and your peace. Bathes us in your light. And we enter into that beautiful place of stillness, where we rest open, receptive, following that direction of the Master when he said, "Peace, be still." Peace, be still. Peace, be Mother, Father, God, beloved presence, you who are this light that flows through our hearts. We use this power of choice and send this beautiful love that we feel that is your presence and power. And we send it out, blessing everyone in our lives, creating harmony and peace for each one, creating wholeness and health within our bodies, within theirs, within our worlds. We send it out across this spiritual community. We send this love out to bless the people in the communities in which we lived, to bless our nation, healing its fears and bringing forth its great wisdom and compassion. We send it out to all who join us in prayer this day, whether in mosque or synagogue, temple or church, whether gathered at home or on the hillside. For in seeking to know you, we are all one. And we send our love beyond all boundaries, beyond nations and religions. We send our love to the earth and to its creatures, and to the heart of every single person. For you are that love in every heart. And in that love, we are one. Divine love flows through my heart, enfolding and blessing the world. Together. Divine love flows, enfolding and blessing the world. And again. Divine love flows through my heart, enfolding and blessing the world. It is so in the joy of that presence within each one that is true peace. Amen.
Country to country, world to world,
Thank you. Oh, good morning. Well, we decided to take on this year this consciousness of lack in the world and get it over. Last Sunday we started to look at the spiritual principles of prosperity and abundance, how we as spiritual beings, when we have this amazing creative spiritual power within us, and that when we align ourselves with this presence that we are one with, this presence that we call God, that goodness will pour itself through our lives and bring forth the abundance, because that's the nature of that divine presence. And when we looked at it last week, we began with the understanding that God is source, and that we have this ability to call that forth instead of our good, whatever that form, whether it's money or relationships or health, whatever that is for us, that it really comes from within outward rather from out to within, which is the way we learn it as we grow up and we look at the world through that third dimensional understanding. So having stepped into that, and we're going to continue with a number of the spiritual principles as we go through the month. But I wanted to take a look at one of the very powerful understandings about this alignment with this presence and how it moves through our lives and blesses us. And that is the understanding of purpose. Because what happens is as we call for it, tune to, and call forth this presence, call it into manifestation and expression, it flows easiest when we are on purpose. When we are about what we came here. Now, when you decided you were going to show up in this third dimensional body and do this human thing, okay, and I imagine that as an infinite spiritual being, that there's certainly some other playgrounds other than this somewhere in the universe, but this is the one we're in. This is the assignment. And so when you showed up here as a spiritual being, it wasn't a random occurrence. You came here for a purpose. And that purpose, the fulfillment of that, is what brings to you the greatest experience of fulfillment. It is that the universe said, when you show up there, I will provide everything you need to be about that. And as you know, we get a lot of choice in this lifetime, and I've taken some choices to wander a little off purpose at times. Now, I will admit there's a lot of fun out there, okay? So it's not bad or good, but what I know is when we are aligned with that purpose, that is when it is easiest for us to draw forth and accept this goodness in whatever form we need it to manifest. So I want to look at that purpose, because I don't know about you, but I found figuring that out a challenge at a time or two in my life. Anybody else had that experience? Okay, little confusing. Well, what am I really doing here? To look at it, I would like to share with you a person's journey. It's a journey that some of you may be aware of. And the reason I pick it is because this person's journey, they were very conscious in sharing their journey and the steps that went along the way. And as I look at it, it's easy to see this person working with purpose. Now, this person's purpose is, it's kind of grand when you end up looking at it in terms of the whole and what it's accomplished. And I'm not talking about this person's purpose as much as I'm talking about your purpose. The picture may look very different, but the steps that we go through are similar. That there's a very strong similarity to what this person has shared in bringing forth their purpose. To what we find in the different parts of purpose that we touch on our lives. So the man whose experience I want to share, his name is Greg Mortensen, and some of you, his book 3 Cups of Tea is something that many folks have read and are aware of. Wonderful story. I became aware of Greg and his work many years before he wrote the book, and realized that this was a very exciting thing that was happening through this young man and what he was about. And so as I followed that, and then I went back and looked at what he'd written, realized, wow, what a picture of purpose unfolding. So to give you just a little background, Greg, as a young boy, grew up in Africa. His parents were American missionaries to Africa, and the primary focus of the work was the development of a health clinic in the area that they were serving. And then returning and entering into adulthood here in the U.S., and a couple strong influences that developed in Greg's life. One was a younger sister who was very ill, had a debilitating illness that meant that she really had to struggle to do just the normal things of life. And his love and compassion for her and support of her was a part of his experience. And I realized this was important for Greg because early in his life he entered into a strong relationship with his heart through his compassion for his sister. Now, this is important because your purpose is in your heart. It is not in your head. You've tried so many times with your head to figure it out. Okay, you know that doesn't, well, I think it's, but what about, and on and on. Okay, the purpose is within your heart. That is how you connect with it. So the journey into understanding and empowering our purpose is a journey into the heart. So that's I think is one of the reasons that Greg's life unfolded with some of the dynamic that it did, because of that early connection into that relationship in his heart. Now, he went on, ended up a trauma room nurse, was his profession. But his passion was climbing mountains. Okay, and this is important because passion is one of the ways that you get a look at your purpose. Okay, passion really comes from the heart. I mean, it's that creative energy, that purpose. Wow, I got to do that. And so his was climbing mountains. Now, which is a wonderful illustration because the truth is there's not a mountain there that needs to be climbed. Have you ever noticed some of your passions achieved ends that made absolutely no difference whatsoever? I love, I have some friends who have great passion around sports. And you know what? It has never yet mattered who won. Never! But what's happening? For the soul, that act, the climbing the mountain asked him to grow in tremendous attunement of body, mind, and spirit. It takes it all to meet huge challenges with patience and persistence, great qualities of the soul. So that purpose, the growth of that aspect of his being, said, well, let's do it with mountains. So that worked. So again, you can't look out there and say, well, this is a wonderful thing to do. The question is it growing me in that which is of meaning to me? That passion that wants to move through you. And what happens is Spirit uses that. It took him to the second highest peak in the world, K2, an amazing expedition that he ends up not getting to summit because a guy went up too early that did. His body couldn't take it, and Greg had to haul him days down the mountains, carrying this person to get him to where a helicopter could finally take him. And then 50 miles down a glacier, so that he could finally get down to where there was civilization. And he reaches the bottom so emaciated that he didn't notice when the trail turned off. And instead of ending at the village where people could connect and help him, he ended walking many miles down into another village where they don't see foreigners show up, especially 6'4" Americans that have been for 3 months without shower. I mean, so there was a different experience showing up for Greg. Okay? And what happened was the love and care he experienced there touched him. These people had no reason to respond to him at all, embraced him and helped him heal and strengthen. And so as he gained that capacity to function more and more, his connection with the people, a connection that happened out of the love and care of his heart, until he found their school one day, which was a ledge with over 80 children on them, writing in the dirt with sticks, because there was no building and no supplies and no teacher, and yet so committed and desirous of learning that they showed up and did it anyhow. I can't say my children have had the same orientation. I can understand why that would affect Greg. Okay? So, wow, this is something. And it touched his heart. And so he made them a commitment to come back and build a school. Change of purpose. He was a mountain climber. That was what he was about. That took him to where Spirit could say, and next is. But the interesting thing was, in what he was about to do, it would require incredible body, mind, spirit connection, patience, and perseverance. Okay. Spirit is so efficient. It's just amazing as you look at the purpose of your life's unfolding. Now, I want to take a break here and just acknowledge that what I'm talking about in purpose is what we call the purpose of doing, the doing purpose. Okay, there is a part of you that is creating in this world. And through that creating, you are receiving, you are giving, and consciousness is changing because of your presence. That's part of what you agreed to do. That's part of your purpose, to show up and accomplish that. That's a purpose of doing. But there are different parts of purpose. There's also a purpose of being. What are you? Wherever you are, whether it's in silence in yourself, whether it's in relation to someone close to you, whether it's with your children or a friend or out in the community, what shows up through you? Are you the peace or the chaos? Okay, are you the love, the healing, the tension? What shows up when you're there? What are you about? Your being. That is one of the most crucial elements of purpose, and it shows up in every other part. That is when you really go and if you take the time and you sit in prayer, you really ask, what am I here for? My guess is that's the one you're going to get. Purpose of being. Because that is the most important. So we have the doing purpose, how creation is happening through you. Okay, that purpose of being. That which is the consciousness that you bring to the world. And then there's another purpose, and I want to mention it just a moment. There are those of you who have found that within your life, or if when someone close to you, you have a particular assignment such as addiction, okay, childhood trauma, many other things that show up that are overwhelming patterns. That is the purpose of transformation. Okay? No matter what is going on, That is something that your soul said, I am going to take this part of consciousness and I am going to transform it. And the way you transform it is by entering in and making a different choice. Bringing the power of your spirit in as that greater force than the power of the body or the power of the hurt emotions. Transforming that energy. Okay, the transformative purpose. We all have it to different degrees, but I wanted to mention those areas because it's so clear. I mean, if that's it, you can't avoid it. I mean, it's sitting there, you're dealing with it. And that is on purpose. That is a soul choice to transform that kind of energy because it is so necessary for the release and growth of us as humankind, that we overcome those limitations that we have created in the world. So, transformative purpose. And let me go back to Greg, because it's kind of fun what happens there. Okay, here's a man, okay, his heart says, I got to do this. So he goes back to the States, and he says, well, how am I going to build this school? Well, he can find somebody to design it and all that sort of thing, and tell him what he's going to need. I mean, he's a mountain climber, and he's a nurse. He's not a builder. But he can find somebody. So that gets taken care of. So he said, but I need the money. So he figures out what it's going to cost, and he looks at all the people that talk about this sort of thing and have meaning and some money and could do something, sends out over 500 letters. Gets one check. Now, remember I shared with you that if you were on purpose, that's when it flows? It didn't for him. There's something that happens when you step into that next level of your purpose. You step in with your old consciousness. Okay? Now for Greg was a very introverted person. I mean, it was real hard for him to talk with people about things and get out there and do something. And certainly, I mean, this guy lived in a broken down car in an old apartment because every nickel he had went into climbing mountains. He didn't care about that money stuff. And suddenly he's asking people for money. Totally out of his league, out of his consciousness. And he got what he believed he was going to get. Nothing. So he had to go through change. Now the reason I mention this is it's not unusual when we get that. When your heart says, this is next. This is what I've got for you. Step up and take care of this. Now it might be within the family, it might be family purpose, it might be financial, it might be health, it might, some other part of your life. But your heart says this is next to do, and you show up and it doesn't work. And you go, oh my God, I was wrong. Or God doesn't show up. She's just being fickle right now. Okay, and she doesn't love me, and so it's not going to work. No, what happens is you met you. You showed up. And you have to go through the growth to change your consciousness. And he had to. He had to go back to that love that he had for those people and remember what it was about and use that skill that his soul had developed, persistence, commitment, and keep on going. And as he kept on going, then suddenly someone showed up and said, hey, there's a guy that climbed those same mountains, and he's a scientist, he has a whole lot of money, and he talked about loving those people. Why don't you call him? And he wrote a check, and the school was paid for. Now, there's a lot of work to get done. But because he was on purpose, and he stayed on purpose as he went through the change of consciousness, where he grew to where he could be about that, then he could draw forth, because he was no longer saying, no, I'm not, this really isn't okay, I'm not really this kind of person, I don't do this sort of thing. Within himself, he knew, this is what I'm about, and the universe will respond. Okay, same thing we've been playing financing our building, isn't it? We went through, and then suddenly the whole world decided to go into financial fear. And not being separate from them, we participated in our own ways. Okay. And that was kind of exciting. And then it got real old. So we decided, let's go back to the consciousness we know about. God is our source. Nothing and no one can keep our good from us. We are the ones who create our world according to that divine law. So we have been doing the work of knowing that source, that love, and that abundance. And the truth is, it is showing up. And we're having fun meetings with banks, and they're saying yes. And so we're eager to get to the point where we can tell you the details, but close. But same thing. I mean, we had to hold to it. Okay, and within your life, the different points where you're on purpose. You know, maybe it's with a child with an issue. What's your purpose with that child? Maybe it's with a parent or with something at work or someone at work. What am I here for? What am I about? What is Spirit telling me through my heart that I am to be and do here? Being on purpose. And as you say yes, deeply, consistently, Spirit can say, okay, now we can play and show up and be about that beautiful creation. Now, as over the next months, because there's so many people in so many pieces in this pattern that Greg has shared, I will be sharing them because it's just an excellent illustration of many parts of our journey. But to give you the bottom line, over 130 schools in Pakistan and Afghanistan educating over 58,000 children, most of them girls, in the area and in the valleys and in the communities where the Taliban rule. Okay? That isn't just building schools. That isn't about literacy. That is about creating love and peace in our world. And when you say yes, whether it's the smallest thing you can imagine, know that Spirit will bring through it that which is greater. It is always greater than we can see. It is always more than you know. Thank goodness. Because if we really knew, we'd probably turn and run the other way. Okay. But it's okay. One step at a time, purpose grows, and you are here on purpose. Okay. And you are conscious. You know you are here on purpose, and you know how to find it. It's in your heart. It's there when you love. It's there when you care. That power of Spirit is now moving through us all to bring forth a world that is filled with the pure, radiant goodness and love of God. And you're the instrument. Thank you, God.
Thank you, David. Great message. Wonderful. Thanks. So we're going to change our focus here a little bit, but it is all about love. If you like prayer support for challenges and or celebrations, our heart ministers will be available after the service. They have the lavender stoles. You're also invited to place a prayer request in our prayer box, which is by the back door, and we will be praying with you throughout the week. Now we're going to shift and we're going to do our prosperity celebration, and I invite you to have your tithes and love offerings and get them prepared. And if you are doing a love in action, remember that it goes in the white envelope. That's separate. I would remind all of us that God is the source of all our good. So if you take your tithes together and love offerings, and we repeat with me, the affirmation is, divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I'm truly grateful.
1, 2, 3, 4.
To everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time to every purpose under heaven. A time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, a time to reap, a time to kill, a time to heal, a time to laugh, a time to weep. To everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time to every purpose under heaven. A time to build up, a time to break down, a time to dance, a time to mourn, a time to cast away stones, a time to gather stones together. To everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time to every purpose under heaven. A time of love, a time of hate, a time of war, a time of peace. A time that you may embrace, a time to refrain from embracing. To everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn.